Okay, so I'm gonna read this fic called Bring Me to Life, which I haven't read yet. I just looked up Sonic and Prey on fanfiction.net. So here we go. Dawn spread her fingers over the harsh horizon of the waste, and displaced that softly tintabulous birdsong of his nearby youth, softly illuminating the harsh, jagged scraps of the wrecked buildings and torn earth. The agonized, motionless rifling of the baked dirt under the gray-yellow brilliance of the nearest star aroused the slumbering male, his eyes cringing back from the harshness of the radiance and retreating for a precisely brief moment behind the shelter of his ocular shields. Tears leapt from his orbs of sight, bejeweling his sharp-lined cheeks as the most moist rust that caught the light. Day broke like an heirloom china plate. It had been an agonizing year since he had lost his idol, his god. This is idol instead of idol. Just saying. His reason for existence. The only thing that kept him whole through 16 miserable sets of seasons, the heavenly light in the drab darkness of the days, and the coldly unfeeling harshness of midnights. All he thought of was the missing hero. The cold wet blue as it dwindled away from him. Each day he was plagued by his own echoed screams, in color of a flawless emerald or a deep perfect leaf upon a tree in heaven. The twin-tailed boy fox wept bitterly as the star of the day rose, outlining him starkly against the red and rocky ground. He was still searching for Sonic, desperate to find his friend, his mentor, and his lover all in one. He tried praying, and he tried asking the people he met, "Have you seen the greatest man alive?" with hunger in his eyes, like the emotion of the visionary oars of a man and starving to death who had spotted at a burger restaurant. I could use a burger. Nothing had helped, so he wandered still. Recently, he'd taken a life sacrifice, hoping that it might help him more than the other less tangible forms of worship had. Admittedly, he had only been able to acquire small rodents, but he hoped that it might do some good. He rose with infinite slowness, like a towering redwood growing from the sea to its full height. He brushed a lone tear from his cheek, watching it sparkle for milliseconds before falling to the ground. Today's grueling pace through this desolate fragment of wasted matter would begin now, as he lifted one delicate foot and placed it down carefully and repeated the process. One shapely leg and then another, stirring the sea and the dust in the rising clouds. And then he tripped, his toes catching and sending him somersaulting backwards. Tails yelled as though pricked by the thorn of an otherwise innocent red rose. He looked down. He was horrified by what he saw, and he stood, wavering as he felt the pile rise in his throat. Sonic was dead! Freshly, it looked not more than a day, maybe less than a day, than half a day. Flying fast in a crimson cloud around to the visage, and left fiery red trails upon his hero's flesh. Tears of purest crystal sprung forward to the fox face, shimmering pools of sapphire, and his stomach clenched, threatening to leave its content and on the wrong side of his esophagus. I can't believe Sonic the Hedgehog is fucking dead. "No!" he croaked, raking at his cheeks with nails long grown, unkept, and ragged. "No, Sonic! Why did you leave me again?" He sobbed raggedly, hanging himself upon the rotting hedgehog's chest, and still rending at his own flesh in grief, as their tears trekked down his perfect white cheeks, leading to the doom with the gentle curve of his chin. I think the author of this is in love with Tails. He lay there weeping onto the ex-hero's prone form for some time, and when he rose, the light had left his eyes, leaving the cold, empty hollowness of deepest ebon depths in his face. He smiled then, icy and eerie, even his hands entered the pouch in his belt. No, you won't get away from me again, Sonic. The sun had climbed laboriously to perch in the middle of Sky's dome, harshly casting its rays upon the baking earth. Sonic's corpse was laying in a circle of white powder that seemed so bright against the red dark clay that it glared into the vision of anyone who looked at it like a gap in the world. A pair of amethysts gleamed solemnly on his eyelids, and one arm had been laid across his chest, 3 rings of gold and silver upon the fingers. The other arm had been spread out, almost touching the circle of white with its fingers spread. Tails straightened his crouch like the ascent of a man, still smiling his glacial smile. He stepped in the circle, legs firmly planted in dirt, arms spread into the heavens, the sun beating cruelly on his small frame. Yeah, glorial quintessence. It's just a bunch of, I don't know. He intoned, bellowing the words in a deep, unnatural bass. When he finished his incantation, he stepped neatly backwards, careful not to scruff the circle. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen, and then slowly, as a fine-tuned concert piano, Sonic sat up, glaring at his surroundings with bloodshot eyes. "Our brains!" he groaned, straightening slowly. Tails gave a shrill and broken cry of delight, rushing forward to embrace him. "Oh, my darling, I thought you left me!" He wept openly into the decaying, cold-wet shoulder as his tiny body racked with sobs. "Come on, let's go to Vegas! Give me a brazosphere!" And then a rode and shambled off into the glowing tones of the magnificently bright sunset. 6 months later, Tails emerged from the kitchen, smiling like a 150-watt bulb with no lampshade. "Darling," he called gently, pressing one arm to his bulging right stomach, "I'm gonna have a baby!" "No shit, brains!" Then